Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, a hearty good morning to you on this Combine Tuesday. Can we call it that? Can we call it the Combine Tuesday? I have survived my lightsaber duel with Lord Vader last night at Star Wars Night at the Lightning. I don't know if the Lightning are going to survive. Gladly, the month of February is gone because it was not very good for the Lightning, no question about it. Welcome into the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, the Italiano Insurance folks, the Golden Diamond Source, and Bay Area Modern Medical Center, American Mortgage Services. We thank all our great sponsors. We thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to get heavy into Buccaneers talk today as Jason Licht and Todd Bowles spoke with the media yesterday. We'll definitely hear from Jason Licht. Todd Bowles was not that illuminating, so we probably won't talk. Probably won't play a lot of Todd Bowles. I think that's how we're gonna. First year he got a lot of play, but the second year we might not play as much Todd Bowles because Todd doesn't really like to tell us much as we love Todd.
Well, it seems like old Dave does.
Yeah, Dave does. The offensive coordinator. Yeah, that will be tempered. Trust me. Once he gets under the wing of the PR department, that will be okay. Dave, it's great. We love you. You won the press conference, but we need to be a little less chatty from now on. Now, he won't go all Byron Leftwich on us. I don't think that's. Oh God, I hope not. I hope that's not possible. Yeah. I don't know, and maybe Todd will be a little bit more comfortable in his skin in the second year, and maybe realize that he probably needs to be publicly critical of his team to hold them accountable because last year didn't work so well. But I'll tell you what I gained from day one at the Combine and the interviews that were done is I'm shocked that Kyle Trask didn't beat out Tom Brady. As good as Kyle Trask is, according to Jason Licht and Todd Bowles. How did Brady even start over Kyle Trask? He's clearly the hardest worker, a way harder worker than Brady was and anybody else in the room. He's got a new body. He's very accurate, can make all the throws, and they're very excited about Kyle Trask. So, I mean, once again, we have questions about last year. The quarterback we had last year was not very good. That bum. Brady, and we had this superstar sitting on the sideline. I don't get it. What's going on? It's like a Rashad White, Leonard Fournette deal. Am I reading something wrong here?
I don't even know where to unpack your comments there because I feel like you're actually being serious in some parts of that.
There's a little truth to it. No,
yeah.
I'm not saying Kyle
I know
over Tom Brady.
I know your agenda's over there. Yeah. So there's an element of truth in your opinion there.
No, I'm being sarcastic as I often am because it was such effusive praise for this guy that couldn't even get a helmet for 2 years. I mean, that's how good this guy is. He couldn't get a helmet except for 2 games. And when the opportunity, the golden opportunity was presented for him to start and play with regulars in an NFL game to get a great sense of how good Kyle Trask can be or how bad, the Buccaneers completely punted said opportunity. So once again, if we're looking at what you do, not what you say, then they're not that excited about Kyle Trask. But if we listen to what they say, he is the next coming of Tom Brady. So I'm excited about that. Okay, he's not. But I think this is just more of the smokescreen of who's behind door number 2.
Likely. I mean, listen, we say this all the time. This is lying season in the NFL.
It is lying season.
I mean, if you want to look at what some of the other general managers said yesterday, I mean, the Packers one's notable.
Yeah.
Do I think for 1 second that Brian Gutekunst thinks that he has a better shot at winning with Jordan Love than Aaron Rodgers? Do I think that for 1 second? No, I don't.
But he gonna sell it.
But he gonna talk up Jordan Love.
He gonna sell it
and say that we're so comfortable and we're ready for Jordan Love to be the guy.
Yeah,
I ain't buying it for 1 second.
I still think Aaron Rodgers to me is not. If I'm the Packers, if this goes more than, first of all, they're gonna lose him next year for nothing unless they extend him. It's clear it's very difficult to build around a quarterback that's eating up $60 million on your salary cap, even when the salary cap goes up. I would think that the Packers are probably, Yeah, I think they're probably done with Aaron Rodgers. And to think how much, I mean, think of the players they could go get with $60 million if they trade him to the Raiders and the Raiders absorb all that. Think of the other players they can go get. I know Aaron Rodgers is special, but yeah, you didn't go to the playoffs last year with him. So if you don't go to the playoffs again, I'm not saying Jordan Love is Aaron Rodgers, and you got to have the quarterback right. But if I'm the Packers, I think at this point, I think he's not playing for you next year. You might just want to, and it's the compensation. Like not only the $60 million to spend, but what kind of compensation are you going to get for Aaron Rodgers? Especially when you're dealing with the dumbass Raiders. I mean, who knows what they'll give you for Aaron Rodgers?
How desperate is Mark Davis?
Just look at his haircut, for God's sakes. He's very desperate.
But he's like, what is he, like the cheapest owner in sports, though?
Yeah.
At least in the NFL?
Yeah.
You think he's going to want to have to pay Rodgers all that money?
Well, look, he's got to pay him. He's got to pay somebody. He's got to pay to the cap anyway, right? So I just think that he's that type of guy. And, Josh McDaniels has certainly in his second stint as a head coach has not distinguished himself. The handling of Derek Carr was maybe one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in football. Just in terms of, okay, you don't like the guy, I get it, but whatever. But I'm going to tell you this, Derek Carr is going to land in the NFC South. He visited with the Panthers and the Saints yesterday, not the Buccaneers. So I think that kind of tells you what direction the Buccaneers are going. I think it's fairly clear now that they are, and I've heard the Bucs are in it for Geno Smith, and I just don't see that. I don't see that with the cap situation they're in. And I think the Glazers are looking at this as an opportunity to reset the salary cap and get a quarterback for the next 10, 12 years, whether it's Kyle Trask. I think, frankly, that the Bucs are zeroed in on Hendon Hooker or one of the quarterbacks in this draft, and I think they want to get a young quarterback and bring him along. And I think they want. And my guess is you're going to have a drafted quarterback, you're going to have Kyle Trask, and you're going to have a tier 2, tier 3 backup quarterback, Baker Mayfield, who may have priced himself out of that situation, frankly. And I think that with Matthew Stafford's future uncertain, that he may be more suited for the Rams anyway. You've mentioned Jacoby Brissett many times. I think that's probably a really, really good fit. Andy Dalton might be that guy as well. God help us all. But any of those guys that we're going to mention right now are just merely stopgaps and placeholders to have in place that if Trask gets hurt or your rookie quarterback is Hendon Hooker and he's not ready to play right away because of the ACL, you can have somebody that's a professional that you can lean on that can win games. Jacoby Brissett is one of those guys.
Yeah, I think Taylor Heinicke is another one of those guys,
yep,
and I believe
been linked to the Bucs.
He was linked to the Bucs yesterday, I believe, as a possible. I think you have to, if you're going to go get the veteran option. The reason why I take like a Baker Mayfield off the thing is because I'm still not sure how he would handle not being the starter. I still have concerns about that. Whereas you get like a Heinicke, you get like a Minshew, you look like a Brissett. Those guys have been there, done that as backups in the league. They understand their role coming in, and it's to mentor Kyle Trask or whatever young quarterback. It's to step in for half a season, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you could take them in and out, and they don't lose confidence either way. They don't raise hell about it. To me, that's the better option to go down than going down the route of Baker Mayfield. Absolutely not on Carson Wentz. Please, no. Nobody even suggest that. We cannot have Carson Wentz in this building.
No.
Fully against it.
No.
And the other one, Marcus Mariota, I'm out on that
Worse than
too.
the COVID infection.
Yeah, and I'm out on Mariota as well.
Mariota just does not have the skill set to be an NFL quarterback. That's a hard no. So I think we're getting down to it. What we're going to see, and we'll obviously find out in the next 2 months. But I think the Bucs will try and use I don't want to say. I think it's going to be a fairly high pick. I think they'll try to trade down and get more picks in the second and third round. And I think you're going to be looking at, and if Hendon Hooker lasts into the second round, I can guarantee you the Bucs are going to. I won't guarantee. I don't know how much they like him or don't like him.
We don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know.
And we're not going to be able to see Hendon Hooker do anything between now and the draft.
Right.
Either.
And that's fine. We got years and years of tape on him. And the more I look at him, the more I like him. And I'm also seeing, Daniel Jeremiah, one of the draft gurus out there, NFL Network, is saying, yeah, Hendon Hooker is a first was I had him graded out as a first day draft pick. And I think a lot of these quarterback gurus have him up there. And I think as we get closer to the process, he's going to be, I see reports of him going into third round. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. With all the teams that need quarterbacks, I don't see him lasting outside the second round. And if he's there, the Bucs need to jump up and get him.
I mean, if you look at the quarterbacks that went in the third round last year, I think he was more accomplished, number one.
Oh, God, yes.
More polished than Matt Corral.
Oh, God, yes.
Definitely Malik Willis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, before the injury, I think this guy was on par to be a first-round pick.
Oh, yes. He's going to win the Heisman Trophy.
He was there.
Yeah.
He was there. I don't know if he gets to first-round status, if I'm being honest with you. I really don't. I think second round, absolutely. I would probably run to the podium for him if you feel confident in him. Like, if you really like him, you don't have many question marks, you have a second-round pick, maybe you've traded back and you have multiple of those, I'd go ahead and do it. But in the first round, if I'm the Bucs, I'd probably stay away because, as we've been saying, there's a lot of holes on this team to fill.
Oh, a ton of holes.
There's a lot of holes, and I'd rather
quarterback's one of them.
Quarterback is one of them.
The most important position.
Quarterback is one of them.
The most important position.
But as we've been saying, they got to get more speed. They got to get more production from the defensive line. They could pick a receiver, a cornerback, someone that could steal the ball away. They have so many holes right now, and I feel like investing in a first-round quarterback right now, if maybe he's not as polished as we would like, right? I don't know if that's smart.
Yeah. Well, this is another reason I would have liked to got a whole game's look at Kyle Trask, because let's dig into Kyle Trask. I mean, it's almost like he's getting drafted for the first time now. We're going back and we're looking at the Florida tape, and we're looking at his mobility. I'm going to play some Jason Licht here talking about Kyle Trask, and he talked about his mobility and how his body has changed. So let's do number 4. Let's do all Jason Licht talking about Kyle Trask here.
Yeah, we're very excited about Kyle. Very excited about him getting an opportunity to be the starter.
Are you excited?
Would be very comfortable with that. Excited, use that word already, but really am. For him to get a chance to be with the starters in off-season, starters in training camp, starters in preseason, which he's never done. He was a successful quarterback in the SEC. I mean, wildly successful. We took him in the second round for a reason. We didn't take him in the second round just to be a third-string quarterback. Now, it has yet to be seen what he turns out to be, but we're confident that it's going to be very good.
Okay. Let's go on to the next one about Kyle, where he talks a little bit more about how he's improved since he's gotten here.
Well, first of all, he can throw the ball very well. He's changed his body a little bit with just being in the NFL with our strength and conditioning staff, to where he looks more athletic than he did in college. Can get out of trouble in the pocket. He's accurate. He's smart. He works hard. He's got all the traits that you're looking for in a quarterback.
So are you going to give him competition, or is he your guy?
No, we'll give him. You have to give everybody competition. He's the only quarterback on our roster right now. I'm just saying, if he were the starter, or if he was the only option that we had right now, we'd be very, very excited about going forward with him. And he's going to get the opportunity to, no matter who we bring in, to be the starter.
Okay. And we've seen Kyle in preseason. We saw him a little bit at the tail end of the Falcons game, which you just basically write off. The game was over. He's working with, second teamers. Watching him more in practice, at first when I saw Kyle, I was like, okay, he's got a decent arm. He's pretty damn accurate from what you see in practice, but that's just so different than the game itself. Being able to play in a tight pocket, accuracy is so different. You look at his college numbers. In 2019, he started 10 games. It came on and started 10 games, went 9-1, completed 67% of his passes, 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Ran the ball 63 times. Well, I guess these are just, as they call them in college, your rushing attempts, when they don't put him on the rushing numbers when you get sacked. So he didn't run the ball a whole lot, and certainly didn't have a whole lot of design runs for him. In his senior season, completed 69% of his passes, 4,283 yards, 43 touchdowns, and just 8 interceptions. So you combine those two, you're looking at 69 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, very similar to another guy by the name of Hendon Hooker in the SEC. So, this is a guy that can sling the football. And don't forget he had Kyle Pitts and Tony to throw to in that year. So you got a couple of NFL targets, guys getting open, and that was the majority of the passes that he threw. Not trying to knock the guy, but just give you an accurate feel for who he is and what he is. And, working with NFL receivers, he was pretty damn good. Now, those guys aren't going to be as open as they were in college, but still you can try to translate some of these numbers. It's a significant sample size. It's not, a 1 year or a year and a half of Anthony Richardson. That's a significant sample size. He's 6'5". He's 230 pounds. He has the look of more of a standstill drop back quarterback, but he can move. He's certainly not, immobile Tom Brady, but as Dave Canales said, it's not like they're going to have a lot of running plays for Kyle Trask. And to me, that's a huge knock in this modern NFL.
It's just not my preferable option. It's just not. And I know Jason Licht said there that he's changed his body and he feels like he can be mobile and stuff, but does anybody know that? Like, how would we know that, Mm-hmm. I can't really go off of that because I haven't seen it. I don't know what his body looks like. We saw him, 9 snaps against the Falcons?
Well, 9 passes, yeah.
9 passes. I don't know if anything's changed over the last 3 months in his body. I don't know. But all I know is I see what I saw at Florida with Kyle Trask, and it's very impressive. But that doesn't always translate.
No.
And that second season, I think he played an all-SEC schedule, which I know is I know this stuff shouldn't matter, but I'm just putting it out there for context. He played nothing but an SEC schedule. Stadiums weren't full, things like that. I don't know if that really matters in the grand scheme of things.
Not at this point.
Not
2 years
necessarily.
removed. Yeah.
But I don't know. I just don't see this arm. Everybody says that he has this great, lively arm. I don't see that. I feel like for a guy that's 6'5", 230, he should have a lot more zip on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more zip on the ball. And I know comparing him to Brady and Blaine Gabbert, who have cannons, is maybe not fair. But when I watch him compared to other quarterbacks, I don't see that zip.
Yeah.
I don't see it. So those are my concerns. And obviously the whole running aspect, I'm not saying you got to run the ball 15, 20 times a game or even 10 times a game necessarily. But extend plays with your feet.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Kyle Trask can do that, or nor do I have the confidence that he can right now.
I think he can, but again, that's going to be something that's really that we're going to have to see in the games at NFL speed. Even being able to escape SEC rushers as he did, and did it pretty well. He could extend plays. It's just a different level of speed in the NFL. It's just different. Now, he'll be working with a more creative offense, and as Dave Canales said, it's just about being a point guard. So you're not asking him to make a lot of hero throws that the Bucs were asking Brady to make in a lot of different situations. But here's the thing about that. Teams catch on to that. And if you're just going to distribute the ball shortly around, teams are going to move up. And then at some point, you got to make NFL throws. That's the way the league works. You got to step up and throw the 25-yard stick route, the 20-yard out route. You got to be able to make those NFL throws. And if you can't, they're going to eat you alive. They're going to see it on film. They're going to take away what you do well and then make you do these other things, and you're going to look like crap. So it's a brutal game, and all of your weaknesses are going to be exposed. And we're not going to, unfortunately, again, this is why I bitched so much about it in the last game. We're not going to know if he can make those throws in a real NFL game until he plays in a real NFL game in a regular season. And then we're going to have to evaluate it. So I still don't think that Kyle Trask, if I had to bet right now, would Kyle Trask be the guy to take the first snap next year? I'd say for me right now it's 50-50. It obviously depends on who they go out and get as a veteran. But I think right now, I think a lot of this is just a smokescreen. That's my gut.
I'm leaning smokescreen, but I mean, I kept saying that Kyle Trask to me would be like option E in this whole scenario. But the more that I hear the Bucs kind of talk about him, and I'm trying to, I don't know. I'm leaning smokescreen right now, but I don't know. The more they talk about them, you hear the reports from Darlington, and I know he's getting that obviously from Jason Licht, I'm sure.
Right. Yep.
So it's hard to really handicap it right now until we get to free agency, but I'll go 35%.
35%?
35% I'm leaning right now, Kyle Trask being the starter week 1.
And I think also as we go through this cap situation and they start releasing players, and obviously Leonard Fournette was designated for release yesterday, so he's not coming back. We knew that. Some of his comments on the way out, though, were a little stinging, as he said, I want to go somewhere where I can win.
It's amazing how things change, right?
Wow.
Everybody was coming here to win.
Right.
And now we're leaving because we want to win.
Brady's gone. I'm gone. My man's not there anymore. I'm gone. So, like, we're a non-entity now. This is what I told you. You Buck fans are like, oh, Leonard's my guy. We got to keep him. We love playoff Lenny. Like, he don't love you. He's going to go where the pastures are more green, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Well, who's paying him that green?
He'll get paid. He'll get paid. He ain't getting paid $7 million, but he'll get paid.
28 years old, slow.
It was funny. I was
Not a
watching.
great blocker.
I was watching some highlights. Well, they were showing highlights last night where they were talking about Leonard Fournette, and that 28 could run. 28 was fast. 7 was slow.
Oh, 28 was 25 years old at the time.
Yeah. I mean,
Not 28.
Yeah, he looked so much faster in the Super Bowl year.
Oh, he was fresh too.
Yeah. He was fresh. He looked like a totally different player than the guy we saw last year. Last year, that guy was plodding. He was heavy. He was heavy. I'm sorry. He played 2020. When he started to play, he was down, I think I heard around, low 230s. Last year he played at 245. A legit 245. So, yeah, he slowed down, just not the same player. I wish him the best. He'll always be a legend here. That year was, he came on and he rode the boat. There's no question about it. He will be a legend here, but his time had come to move on. Someone will get him. I don't think he's ever going to be a factor back like that, though, again in this league.
No. And, looking back on Leonard Fournette, do the Bucs even get to the Super Bowl without him? Is that fair to say? Because in that Green Bay game, I mean, we forget, but Brady threw 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
The offense was really stagnant from a passing standpoint, and the defense started to fall apart in the fourth quarter.
No, he was a monster.
Leonard Fournette took over that game on the run. So do they get to the Super Bowl without Leonard Fournette? Is that fair?
No, he was a monster. Because remember, Ronald Jones got hurt.
Because Ronald Jones got hurt, and you didn't really have anybody else you could turn to.
No, he was a monster, and he was, he's blocking tremendously well in the blitz packages. Or the blitz protection. He did it all. He was fantastic. He carried them at times. So, yeah, his legend will never be forgotten. Lombardi Lenny, absolutely. Thank you for your service. But it's interesting where we are now. The Bucs.
It's that quick.
Buck fans, you are back to being, I hate to say this, irrelevant. Semi-irrelevant. You have a little bit of residue left over because you won the Super Bowl a couple years ago. But for the most part, when the schedule comes out,
I mean, I'm just going to point it out there.
We may get one primetime game. Maybe.
I mean, I'm just going to point it out there. As somebody who
we'll get at least one because you have to.
As somebody who writes about sports for a living in the NFL, the amount of time, the drop-off in the amount of Buck stories that I've written in the month of February since Brady has retired, I don't think I've written one.
Yeah. And how many were you writing before that?
I maybe was pumping out at least 2 Brady pieces a day, maybe.
A day, yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. That's the way the world works, and they're moving on. And unless they can, and who could they draft that would bring that – well, nobody can bring that kind of star power. But they're at 19, they're not drafting anybody that's moving the needle. That's not happened. And they're not signing anybody that's moving the needle. They don't have the money to do so. So all that added up equals irrelevance. So for all of you Buck fans who hated all the bandwagon fans jumping on, don't worry about that. It's all your wagon now.
If we're irrelevant, though, why are we – did you see the stuff that they've raising the season ticket prices?
Nationally, they're irrelevant.
Well, why are they raising the season ticket prices then by 7.8%? It's a good question, isn't it?
It's a really good question. Because Brady's not here and they're losing – they got an extra 20% premium if Brady was around from their advertisers. So, now they got to make up the revenue in some ways. I think I don't think that's a great move. I mean, from a business management standpoint, I don't think that's something that but I guess you still feel like people are used to going to the games now. I think they're going to get a rude away. Of course, the season ticket holders had to buy their season tickets last year.
Yeah.
In the middle of the season, they're like, okay, it's time to renew, and if you don't renew now, you don't get playoff tickets, and you don't get next year. So you're kind of boxed in.
Yeah. I think it's just because in the last 3 years, clearly with Brady being here and the success, we've seen that this town has really, ingrained itself with the Buccaneers, I guess. Again. And now it's like we always said that, the franchise is going to be so much better on the other side of this because this happened. And now it's like we're on the other side of it, and I know we're only a month removed, and I'm just like, are we?
Well,
are we?
There was a feeling of when Brady leaves, they'll leave that, he'll permanently change the culture. Hell, the culture changed last year when he was here. It got
Yeah,
worse.
the culture wasn't great when we went out.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So,
Todd Bowles even said we have to change it. This
Yeah.
is not just
Well,
like
Brady
us,
was here.
This is not us just
So-
like speculating. This is what Todd Bowles said.
Yeah, I think I've even said that, and I'm like, yeah, well, that's a no. I was completely wrong on that. It's your culture is who the guys are in that building on a year-to-year basis.
I don't think it's going to get as bad as it was pre-Brady, though, and
No.
pre-Bruce Arians.
No,
I don't think it can get back to there.
I think the standards, have been elevated.
They've been elevated.
They've been elevated. There's no question about that. And the guys that have played with Brady can always say, when Brady was here, we did it this way.
Yeah.
We did it that
and
way.
they've started acting like a first-class organization, too, by the way.
Yeah.
I think that hasn't changed. To me, they feel like more of a big-time organization than they ever have.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And so that continues. And I think in the minds of people, you have to remember something else here from a business standpoint. Now, inflation, 7.5% was the increase in the ticket price. This happens to be the increase in inflation as well. So, number one, inflation. Number two, there's more people moving to Tampa Bay. There's
Sadly.
more demand for NFL tickets. And it's not just, even if they're coming from out of town, they may be coming from places where they're used to going to NFL games. They support their local team. Maybe they're now there's more of a demand. There's more of a demand for NFL tickets here. So it's supply and demand, and they'll sell out just like I think they'll sell out like they have in years past. Now, the season after that, if this is a 5-win, 6-win season with Kyle Trask, demand's not going to be there anymore.
And I think this is a fair
As much.
question and argument. I just want to know how excited people would be if Kyle Trask is a starter. I genuinely want to know because I'm just trying to go off of obviously the threads on Twitter.
Well, let's do a poll.
That's what I was about to say. I'm
Let's do a Twitter poll.
gonna throw up a poll here when we get to break.
On a scale of, I don't know, how do you want to do it?
Yeah, I'll think of the wording, but I'm going to get something up there basically about how excited you are from Kyle Trask. Because as I was saying yesterday, I'm not even seeing it from that wasn't the Anthony Richardson discussion necessarily, but I still see a lot of people that are really all in for Kyle Trask and a lot of people that are really not, right? And I'm seeing it in our comment section here this morning as well. So I'm very curious to get a number on that.
Yeah, well, let's before we get to some more of Jason Licht, let's go ahead and do some of these comments here if you want to hit some of them. I put on my glasses so I can read them.
Get your old man glasses on.
Get
the readers on.
Get the readers on. That's just because the print's too small. Richie P, we ain't drafting a freaking running back. I know you love Bijan Robinson. Everybody does. We're not drafting a running back. First of all, we got a really good one in Rashad White. And
This is a deep class.
And yeah, it's a deep class. We're going to draft one. Rashad White is good. I still like Keyshawn Vaughn. The reason he didn't play last year is probably more because Byron Leftwich. Because every other, as you go back and you listen to, you remember some of the comments that the coaches made. I think it was it Harold Godwin that was being grilled about the running game. He's like, well, you got to call the running plays.
You got to call the plays.
Yeah. And Todd Bowles like, we love Keyshawn Vaughn, but evidently Byron Leftwich did not. And so, maybe Keyshawn Vaughn may be the best running back in the league.
Yeah.
Because the guy that was keeping him on the bench is a knucklehead. So, every time I've seen Keyshawn Vaughn on the field, I've been impressed by him. He makes people miss. He just never got the opportunity, and sometimes that could be the coach's fault.
And Richie here said, with Lombardi letting out, all of a sudden the running back position is thinner. I know the running back position is not a value pick in the first round, but he's a generational player. I understand, Richie. It's just I don't care how good you are as a running back. To me, that's the least important position on the field.
Well, who was the last generational running back to come out?
Was it Saquon Barkley?
Saquon Barkley. How did that change the Giants' fortunes? And I forget who it was. There was at least one or two quarterbacks on the board when they took Saquon that turned out to be pretty good NFL quarterbacks. I'm just conceptually remembering that, but I can't remember the names. And you can't pass on a quarterback or even an edge rusher or even a shutdown corner in my mind. The running back has to be generational. Well, even Saquon was generational. What kind of impact has he really had on the Giants in 4 years until this season? I know 1 year he was injured.
Well, there's a lot of factors, but the point is, it's not a running back is not going to overcome holes on a roster. I'll put it that way. Derrick Henry probably is the closest that we've seen in the last 20 years that can will a team to the playoffs by being a run-first team and having just an animal back there.
Yeah,
that's it.
But it hasn't come close to winning a Super Bowl.
No, it's never going to win a Super Bowl, but it can win you the weakest division in football for a long time.
When you have this many holes, you just don't have the luxury of taking a running back. And, yeah, he could be generational, but the other part about running backs is they get hurt.
Yeah,
because it's such a.
And I said it too about the Chiefs. Like for their dynasty that they're on right now, right? The one bad decision they made was thinking that, okay, we don't have many needs. Let's just go holes. Let's go get a running back in the first round. We can do it. And they took Clyde Edwards-Helaire,
who looked fantastic.
Fantastic in college, and he was inactive during the Super Bowl. And the 6th round, 7th round pick, whatever it was, Isaiah Pacheco, ended up being the guy, and he looks like a future player here now.
Yeah, that's why
how these things work.
That's
now.
why you can't take a running back.
Najee Harris was drafted in the 1st round.
Yeah,
he looked like he was running with a piano on his back, and Jalen Warren, who was a lesser pick by a long shot, looked better than him this year on the same team. So
we're just not doing it.
Not doing it.
I know you love him, and it looks great in college, but it's not someone who's going to transform your team. And even think about this: who would you rather have? Bijan Robinson, who's going to be at most a 5-year impact, and then he's that big, he's a big target, he's going to get beat up, he's going to be done in 5 years because that's what happens with running backs. Or Tristan Wirfs, who's going to play for 15 years at an all-pro level. I'd rather have a dominant offensive lineman than a dominant running back in the first round any day because they last longer and they pass block and they run block. They help your offense tremendously.
Bucs Skull Game in the house said, heard the Bucs like AR-15. AR-15 a better option than Hooker in my opinion.
Oh, Bucs Skull Game. Love to have you in and nice to have you, but
I will
we will go round and round on that.
I will refer you to the first 30 minutes of yesterday's show.
Yeah.
For the Anthony Richardson talk, and we're just not on board with that.
No.
I can't get there. And he was the one that I was saying really a lot of Gators fans. I don't know if Gators fans can even get there. With Anthony Richardson as a Buccaneer.
No, because they've heard the same things that we've heard, and I don't like talking about him because it's more hearsay stuff than anything. But there's been a lot of chatter about his immaturity and the hangers-on in Gainesville and all that stuff. It's when you're asking a guy to be drafted in the first round and be the face of a franchise, that's grown-ass man stuff. And he just doesn't have enough experience in football for my liking. He's inaccurate. He's an incredible specimen, tremendous runner. I get it, all that. But inaccuracy is something that's very, very hard to change. The immature. I think if this was 2 or 3 years from now, and he'd played a couple of years as a starter and showed you that he can handle that maturity level and that leadership level. And he's also wildly inconsistent. One quarter he looks like freaking, Joe Burrow. The next one he looks like Jeff George, and the ball's going all over the place. So, for so many reasons, in 2 hours from Gainesville, he's still going to have all the hangers on.
And if he's going to go somewhere, he needs to go somewhere where there's a veteran quarterback that's won games in this league, that's maybe a little bit older, seasoned, that he can learn, that he can sit behind. I think that's the obvious route for him. If he comes to the Bucs, what are you doing? You're just in a quarterback competition with Kyle Trask, who doesn't have any experience.
No.
So what's he learning for? I don't see it there. I just don't see the fit. And back to what Canales said too about being the point guard, pitch and catch.
Yeah.
It's not Anthony's strong suit.
No.
But he's a hell of a talent. I'm not going to take that away from him. He's a hell of a talent.
I wish him the best. I just think he's a horrible fit in Tampa Bay.
It's just the Tampa Bay fit that I can't get to.
It's not good. And I think, my comp for him is Cam Newton. And he's going to, just like Cam Newton, he's going to rocket up the board because of his workouts because he looks the part. But playing quarterback in the NFL is a totally different deal. Totally different deal.
James, not a fan of Kyle Trask. He said, I don't think the last game would have mattered, JP. The bottom line is they should not have drafted him. So they could have drafted a guard or a tackle or a cornerback. But no, they draft Kyle Trask. Total waste.
Well, that's irrelevant at this particular point. And I still don't understand, James, and we've had this argument 100 times, how in the hell a full game as a starter in the NFL does not help you evaluate a quarterback. You make no sense.
He had to go 9-8. Had to go 9-8.
Yeah, you make no sense. 10 plays at the end of the game when the game's already decided is not. That's just like a preseason game. It's no different. So, yeah, absolutely. Who would not want a full game of tape of Kyle Trask getting work with the ones all week long and getting to go play against an NFL defense? We'd have a hell of a lot more. We'd know a lot more about his escapability, his new body. We'd know a lot more about his accuracy under fire. We'd know how he handles the line of scrimmage. We'd know so much more about Kyle Trask.
I will say this because I think the situations are they're not entirely similar, but same kind of concept, right? With Jordan, I keep going back to the whole Jordan Love thing. I
Yeah.
will say, getting to see him a little bit at the end of the season, right, when Rodgers went down, and to see that he had zip on the ball and that he could go and do the 2-minute offense, all those things, I will say that probably factors into the thinking, like, okay, he went out there and he did an NFL game. He didn't embarrass himself.
Right.
We saw him the year prior when he tried to do it, and he looked completely overmatched.
Yep.
This year he did not.
Right.
I understand it from that point now. So
Yeah.
And listen, I was the one 3 months ago who was saying I really didn't care. I didn't need to see Kyle Trask because I wasn't a Kyle Trask fan, right? And I still was holding out hope that Brady was coming back anyway, so I just didn't care.
Yeah.
But now I guess looking at it, and one game wouldn't make or break anything. I guess you would have liked to have at least seen a half, I guess, out of Kyle Trask.
Yeah.
Like I didn't need to see Blaine Gabbert, I guess.
No, that was a complete waste of time.
There was no need for that. I probably would have just in hindsight given those snaps to Kyle Trask.
Of course,
the Blaine
you would've.
Gabbert ones.
Of course, if Brady wanted to go out there and just stay loose, okay, fine. You get 2 series, but Trask is getting some work with the ones this week, and we want to see him. And we all know why Trask didn't play, because Brady wanted to play, and he wanted to practice, and Brady got whatever he wanted. But what was best for the franchise was to see Kyle Trask.
Well, and I think
and here's the thing, Kyle Trask, according to Jason Licht, and obviously, we've seen Kyle Trask working out before and after and all this, and he's a workaholic, and he's improved this and he proved that. I wanted to see it. If he's that much better, which he should be, he's 2 years under Brady. Let me see what you got, man, because he better be a different quarterback and a much better quarterback now than he was in college, and I want to see that. We didn't get to see any of that, right? So, I mean, if all you're talking about, and let's see it. I want to see it. We had a chance to see it. We didn't see it. So we're going to go into this preseason, and we're going to go out there and scrutinize OTA workouts and every 7-on-7 drill. I'll be out there with my pencil and my pad and be writing down he's 7 for 6, whatever, and we'll be scrutinizing all this stuff, and it's all going to be against no pads, no pass rush, none of that stuff, and we're going to have to be guessing. But at this point, even with what Light said yesterday, I feel like there's going to be plenty of competition for Kyle Trask, and I think it's 50-50 whether he takes the first snap. Any other of those comments you want to get to there?
There's a couple of comments about some breaking news, which I know you haven't got a chance to see, but I wanted to come back. I wanted to take a break and come back and address it so we can give more time to it.
And what is that?
We have a certain top prospect.
Do a tease, man. Come on.
Yeah, a certain top prospect in the NFL draft, rumored to go into the top 5.
Ooh.
Has just had an arrest warrant served for him.
Ooh.
30 minutes before he was scheduled to talk at the combine.
Oh, that's bad.
Very bad.
That sounds like somebody's been set up. Oh, we're getting
just wait till you hear the details on this.
Oh God. Well, that's a good tease. Well done. All right, quick break. We'll be back with those juicy details and much more. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group. If you have been involved in a car accident or your car was totaled recently and you didn't get what you think you deserved, you probably have a case. Find out. Get in contact with the Jeeves Law Group at jeeveslawgroup.com. Tell them JP sent you, and Scott Jeeves will go after their ass and get you some money, hopefully. Find out if you have a case. It's a free call. Back in 3. For the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JeeVes lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes, so call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset.
Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Hey, folks, it's still engagement season, and where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source? The Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry supercenter with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to wait to spend any extra time waiting for them to bring something in. They have everything right there in-house, so why go anywhere else? And you can get up to 15% off this January if you buy something with the birthstone, which is garnet. Garnet and gold, Florida State, get something for your favorite Seminole. And let's not forget the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Very affordable, real gold and diamond jewelry, always stylish and unique. Emily has created this fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry line ideal for everyday wear. Each piece is designed to enhance your look by featuring eye-catching, modern geometrical shapes. Really unique stuff. Got to check it out. And, of course, Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors here in the local community. So let's keep it local. And you can get 0% financing for up to 5 years. Get a big ring for a little price. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, one unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this Combine Tuesday. And, I kind of joke that sometimes you'll see reports come out on players and, that other teams actually put out there because they want to draft the player and they want his draft stock to go down. That happens all the time in the NFL. But this particular story is not that. This is a very, very serious allegation about what is probably the best position player in this draft, and that's Georgia's Jalen Carter. Nick, tell us what the story is all about here.
Yeah, so he's been issued an arrest warrant from the Athens Police Department, and it's stemming from his involvement in the fatal crash, if you recall, from just after Georgia won the championship of a former player, of a Bulldogs player, Devin Willock, and a recruiting staffer, Chandler LaCroix. And here the police report. It says that Chandler LaCroix was driving a 2021 Ford Expedition, Jalen Carter a 2021 Jeep Trackhawk, and they were operating their vehicles in a manner consistent with racing. Shortly after leaving downtown Athens at about 2:30 a.m., it says they were switching between lanes, drove in the center turn lane, drove in opposite lanes of travel, overtook other motorists, drove at high rates of speed in an apparent attempt to outdistance each other. Evidence indicated that before the crash, the Expedition was traveling at about 104 miles per hour. Toxicology report indicated that Leroy, who passed away as a result of this crash, her blood alcohol concentration was 0.197 at the time of the crash. And Carter also initially told authorities he had been more than a mile away from the accident when it took place. He later retracted that and admitted that he was close enough to see the vehicle's taillights.
There's so many troubling things here. First and foremost, having lived in a college town where the football program dominates everything, it's a little bit concerning that we're learning this so far after. Because guess what? If you're drag racing in downtown Athens, there are CCTV cameras all over the place. And the cops knew within minutes that these guys were racing, there were other cars involved, and how dangerous the situation was. And I can tell you this, if it was you or me, that footage would be out. But right now they're saying they're going to keep the footage until because of an ongoing investigation. So, again, this is, and you just mentioned something else. People were questioning Jalen Carter's character, and Kirby Smart, of course, came to his defense.
Yeah, this was a real thing, and it resulted in Bruce Feldman, literally about a week ago, coming out with a huge column. And it was basically like Kirby Smart defending Jalen Carter and saying, like, nobody knows him like we do and that he's a fantastic player, no issues here. And now this comes out, before the draft, obviously. And again, like I said before when I teased it, 30 minutes before he was scheduled to go up and speak to the media at the Combine. 30 minutes before this comes out.
Well, I can tell you this. There's a lot of backroom negotiations going on with all these things. Clearly, the police have known this for quite some time. Clearly, the folks at Georgia were trying to keep it quiet. It was never going to be that when you have, vehicular homicide involved here. And by the way, putting other people in danger. I mean, driving those kind of cars at that kind of speed through downtown, going in opposite directions, how many more people could they have killed? I mean, that is just frightening. That's absolutely frightening. And it shows just a complete reckless disregard for authority and laws and anything, which is, and this is the other thing, kind of, the bad side of NIL. Not that a lot of these big-time players didn't have money anyway, but having money and having access to fast cars and alcohol and everything else is not a great recipe for youngsters. It really isn't. I mean, I never had a car fast enough to get in trouble. I was stupid enough, but I wasn't that dumb. I would never do anything that stupid, not to endanger other people. That's the thing. When you start endangering other people, I mean, do it. C'est la vie. Do what you want to do. When you start endangering other people this recklessly, that's a character flaw. That is a character flaw. It shows a lot of lack of respect for authority, and just in general. Given this police report, and obviously this is from the perspective of the police, it's not always true. But again, there's hundreds of cameras in downtown Athens. They have video of all of this. So the evidence is going to be indisputable. Yeah. And the fact that he left the scene of a homicide accident, if I'm not mistaken, that's a felony and a very serious one.
Yeah, right now it seems like both of the things he's been charged with are misdemeanors. That's right now.
Wow. I don't think that's usually the case. We'll get Scott Jeeves on to talk about the ramifications of these types of situations. But to me, this seems a lot more serious than misdemeanors to me.
Yeah.
When there's a vehicular homicide involved. And what a sad story, man. What a sad, sad story. And for Kirby, and Kirby Smart knows all about this. He knows damn well what happened already. And for him to come out and defend Jalen Carter and then knowing full well that this was going to come out, or maybe they thought it wasn't going to come out. I don't know how you keep something like this quiet, but especially for the victims' families, that's really weird. It's really weird. It's tragic. It's really, really tragic. And I do think it's going to affect his draft stock tremendously because he may not be able to play.
Yeah, and that's what
he's going to jail.
Yeah, and we had a lot of comments here talking about it and affecting his draft stock. And Bucs Skull Gang in the house, he was wondering if he could fall to 19 now for the Bucs.
So he can do it down Dale Mabry. Come on, man.
Yeah, it seems a little too early to get down that route before everything right now, but
yeah, I know that maybe
I mean, I'll just tell you this
on my part, but
I'll just tell you this, and I know times have changed a little bit, and I don't think the same thing would happen now like it did in 2016. But Laramie Tunsil, if you recall, was going to be a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
And right before the draft, like 10 minutes before the draft, we had the whole video come out with him wearing the mask and whatever he was doing there in his room. I don't know. That video came out, and he dropped to, I want to say, like 12 or 13. So he had like a little minor fall, right?
Yeah.
This is obviously
I would have drafted him.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would have.
Oh, college kid smoking pot? No. Really?
I don't think that would happen now. I don't think his slide would be long now.
Well, what about Leo Collins? The night before the draft, he's not even implicated, but the story comes out that I think his ex-girlfriend was murdered and that he may have been part of it. And he was a first-round pick and dropped all the way to 7th. But, the initial investigations were, he wasn't part of it.
Yeah.
And he had a rock-solid alibi. And I was like, well, this is clearly a move by some other team that wants him to have him fall in the draft. And it seemed like that was a good bet to draft him anyway. But you just never know because you don't have time to fully vet it at that particular time. At least now, teams will have enough time to vet what happened in this. But the initial reports are not good. And all of these initial reports can be backed up by video evidence.
Yeah, and they have video evidence. It says it here in the.
Of course they do. He's right. He's racing in the street in downtown Athens.
Yeah, it says officers have obtained a surveillance video from city-owned cameras along the route the players took out of downtown Athens. They also obtained footage from at least one business owner.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
There's a video all over the place, and it's not going to look good.
No,
it's going to look very bad.
No, it's not.
And then when you factor in that. If they're going back and forth in racing, Jalen Carter maybe have an absolute, very important role. And I don't know, but if he saw the accident, which I'm pretty sure he did, left the scene and left your teammate,
and then basically lied to police at first.
And then lied to police. We don't know the full story, but
that's the facts we have right now.
If that's what happened, you want to draft this guy?
I mean, and listen, he's a hell of a player.
Yeah.
For my money, he probably was going to be the first non-quarterback picked.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, that's changed a lot now.
I want the Bucs to draft some dogs on defense, but
not like that.
That's a Georgia dog I may not want.
No, and I don't.
But we need to find out more. I'm
need
probably
to know
jumping
more.
the gun on this, but that does not look good. That does not look good at all in any way, shape, or form. So I think that's going to be a huge story. But we need to find out. Did he get arrested at the combine?
I don't know. It just says an arrest warrant was issued.
Wow. Yeah, that's
by Athens. Yeah.
Boy, the back and forth with the police department and the athletic department and all this, boy, I can tell you
this is just wild though, because I'm just thinking about another situation that's very similar, I guess.
Bucs skull game. What are you doing?
Were you talking about the last comment there?
Yeah. What are you doing, bro? Remember, Jameis stolen crab legs still went #1 pick. You're comparing taking some crab legs out of a Publix to a vehicular homicide, drinking and racing and driving, and leaving the scene of a deadly accident. Crab legs. Okay. And Warren Sapp, he said he smoked pot and he fell. We're dealing with something very, very different here.
Wait, why did Warren Sapp fall again? I don't know the full story on that.
I think he tested positive for marijuana. You imagine? I mean, think about that now. There are teams that passed on Warren Sapp because he was smoking weed.
Because he was smoking weed.
Ooh. Come on. Luckily the Bucs were smarter than most.
Yeah. I was gonna say though, this is just crazy though. Like this Jalen Carter story, it kind of is interesting because have you kept up with the Brandon Miller thing at Alabama?
A little bit.
And it's just fascinating because he's like the top freshman in the country.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter is the best player in college football past this last season, non-quarterback, and both of them involved in big kind of like legal issues like this, very serious stuff.
Like murder.
Yeah.
Vehicular homicide.
Yeah.
With alcohol.
Yeah, and then for Brandon Miller, a possible connection to supplying the gun used in the murder.
Yeah, the story I heard about that
is wild right now.
Wild.
And he's still playing.
Yeah.
Nate Oates has been the head coach of Alabama. Nate Oates, every press conference says something that you shake your head at. It's odd going on there.
Well, I just think the whole idea in this country now about violence and what we're punishing for and what we're not. It's like, oh, he just brought the gun over there and he shot somebody. Oh, okay. What? Like, and you're still playing basketball?
Yeah, and did you see too this past weekend? And they do this every single game.
Again, and I hate saying this, But it goes back, to the Deshaun Watson thing. It's like, where is law enforcement? Where is law enforcement? Like, these guys they shouldn't be playing basketball. They should be on the street. They're a danger clearly to public safety. If that's the way you're making decisions in your life, don't worry about basketball. What else is this guy doing?
I don't know. We just need to ask ourselves why there's so many high-profile college athletes that are, and I shouldn't say so many because I'm just talking about 2 instances, but 2 is enough in my opinion.
Yeah.
Involving murder with high-profile college athletes.
It's the SEC. Just means more.
Oh.
Means more. I don't care what they do. We got to keep them on the court. Got to keep them on the field. Just means more. It means a little too much, I think. Bucs skull game. Kamara's still not suspended.
You saw the video?
Kamara's still not in jail.
You saw the video that came out?
Yeah. I mean,
if he was anybody else, he'd be in jail.
Of course he would be in jail. Of course. Well, I mean, we're letting convicted murderers out of jail to kill other people these days all over the United States. So, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. No, go ahead. Just go back. Just don't do it again. Then come back to court. Yeah. Oh wait, I'm going to kill somebody else. It's crazy what's going on in law enforcement. What are we doing? Like, lock these people up, for God's sakes. All right. Well. Any other comments on that we need to talk? No, we're not. Everyone's. Jalen Carter's going to fall to us. This is what you guys think about when you hear this story. He might fall to us.
Yeah. Jordan Gamillion said this is so true. This has been going on forever. Look how much Urban Meyer used to cover up.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, yeah. We've said this, and it's absolutely true. Urban Meyer knew. He knew Aaron Hernandez shot 4 people. He knew it.
Correct.
He knew it.
Which is why, for anybody that's going to be naive today and say, well, Kirby Smart might have not known. Come on. Come on, man. These guys are at the top of the food chain at the university. They know everything.
They know everything.
Everything.
And they have people within the police department that tell them everything about their players. Yeah. Aaron, and there's investigations were done. Aaron Hernandez was positively ID'd as the shooter. Urban Meyer knew it. The cops questioned a lot of the different players and questioned Urban Meyer about the whole thing. And the kid that got shot was I positively identified him in the this is a true story, in the hospital bed as he was fighting for his life. And then after he was visited by some friends, gang members, he changed his story.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember what he looked like.
That's what I'm saying. When it's these big programs,
so he wasn't charged.
Yeah, when it's these big programs, they cover up everything.
Right.
In the name of winning, which I understand you want to win, but my goodness.
Yeah.
Look at the things that went on at Florida.
Yeah.
Look at the things that are going on in Alabama now that they're having to deal with.
Yeah.
Like if it was like, let me just ask a question. If I was in a part of an investigation, okay, and I was being investigated for being the person who supplied the gun in a murder.
Yeah. You'd be thrown out of school.
Would I be working right now?
No.
Anywhere?
No.
He's on he's in the public eye, which even makes it worse, and he's playing every single night. And yes, I know he's a hell of a player, whatever. It doesn't matter. And then the university basically like being so tone deaf with it. You see that the pat down the celebration or the introduction they did to him this weekend?
No.
They do this every game, but it seems very tone deaf this week, right? To do this. When Brandon Miller gets introduced at home, he has a player, he puts his arms out like this, like he's getting a pat down.
You're joking.
I'm not. This happened this weekend. Everybody obviously lost their mind over it because it's very tone deaf to what's going on.
And the coach allowed that to happen?
Oh, yeah. They've been doing it all year before this happened, but the fact that you're still doing it now is very tone deaf.
You got to be joking me.
I'm not joking you. You go watch the video in the break.
So they're mocking the fact
he gets a pat down every time he gets introduced at Alabama.
So they're mocking the fact that he supplied a gun for a murder.
It comes off like that, yes. Even if they weren't
it's not going to come off. That's exactly what they're doing.
Well, they've been doing it all year, so even if they weren't intending to, there's still a lack of judgment there going on.
You think? And the coach is okay with this, evidently. Hey, you're number one,
there you
baby.
Go.
You're number one.
College sports.
You're doing. Hey, get to number one. You can do whatever the hell you want. Murder people, supply. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. Just keep winning, baby. Just win, baby. Wow, this is where we're. Wow. All right, we'll take a break and reevaluate our lives here as we talk about sports here at the JP Peterson Show. We're brought to you in our first hour by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. And also Bay Area Modern Medical Center if you're looking to lose weight, need a new primary care physician, or want to get on their body sculpting machine. Sounds good to me. It's BAMMC.com. Make an appointment now. You hear Chris Lugo on with us each and every week talking about wellness. Really knowledgeable guy, so take advantage of it and go over to Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Back in 3 minutes with more Jason Licht. Stay with us. Tour's Valspar Championship returns this March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of golf action plus a host of fun activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. Sam Burns, who won in a thrilling playoff last year, is looking to make it 3 wins in a row on the Copperhead course at Innisbrook Resort. He will be challenged by a top field that includes Jordan Spieth, returning for the first time in 5 years. The 2015 Valspar champ counts 13 PGA Tour victories, including 3 majors in his career. It will be a great field and great fun. Tickets are on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds tickets and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss the 2023 Valspar Championship.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right, your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah, so call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years.
The boys are back. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship returns March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of incredible golf plus a host of activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. There is more to the Valspar than just great golf. It's the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Snake Pit Club, accessible by premium tickets, and other great venues throughout the course for those with ground tickets. And new in 2023 is the Rooftop, a new prestigious venue at the 18th green with music, food, and fun. Plus, you never know who you're going to see at the Rooftop. Tickets are on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds tickets and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss the 2023 Valspar Championship.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately, or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Hey, folks, it's still engagement season, and where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source. The Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry supercenter with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to wait to spend any extra time waiting for them to bring something in. They have everything right there in-house, so why go anywhere else? So you can get up to 15% off this January if you buy something with the birthstone, which is garnet. Garnet and gold, Florida State, get something for your favorite Seminole. And let's not forget the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Very affordable, real gold and diamond jewelry, always stylish and unique. Emily has created this fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry line ideal for everyday wear. Each piece is designed to enhance your look by featuring eye-catching, modern, geometrical shapes. Really unique stuff. Got to check it out. And, of course, Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors here in the local community. So let's keep it local. And you can get 0% financing for up to 5 years. Get a big ring for a little price. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JeeVes lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock.
This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the second hour of the JP Peterson Show. John Gerber, PGA Pro, is going to join us at 11:45. We'll get some picks for this week's PGA tournaments. They're in Bay Hill this week, I believe, right? Yeah, after the Honda, on to Bay Hill. Then coming up in a couple of weeks, it's the Valspar Championship. Don't forget to get your tickets, folks. We've got the rooftop, which is new this year. They're going to have celebrities up there and music playing, so that's going to be a great place to hang out. Get those premium tickets. They're going to sell out. The Owl's Nest, the Hooters Owl's Nest over there by 13 and 14. Great spot with free chicken wings and beer, all the beer you can drink out there. With the Snake Pit passes where there's multiple hospitality places you can bop from one to another and get free drinks and free food there, all you can eat. So tons of different things to do out there. It's going to be a great social event. Saturday tickets include the Darius Rucker concert that night, which is going to be incredible. Can't wait for that. So much going on at the Valspar. So get your tickets at valsparchampionship.com. Looking forward to seeing Jordan Spieth out there, Justin Thomas, Sam Burns. A cast of thousands will be out there, and hopefully you will be too. Enjoying the golf, enjoying the great weather, the food, the drinks, all that good stuff. So get your tickets now for the Valspar Championship coming up soon. All right, so we got a little poll out. We want to see your excitement level for Mr. Kyle Trask.
Yep. Simple question on a scale of 1 to 10. What is your excitement level for Kyle Trask being the starting quarterback for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2023? 10, go Bucs. 7, great SEC pedigree. 4, you're skeptical, and 1, and that is that's the James category, wasted pick. So those are your options for Kyle Trask. I have already gone ahead and voted.
And you voted.
I'm in the skeptical category.
I think that's where I'm going.
It feels like a safe pick, you know?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to label anybody a wasted. I don't want to go that far.
Yeah.
But I'll go skeptical.
Yeah, I'm skeptical. I'm between 4 and 7. I think 7's my excitement level is definitely not a 7. It's
No.
It's closer to a 4.
Yeah, and I did have it. By the way, I asked this question, and I got a text from a listener here, a season ticket member for the Bucs for a long time. He said, I missed one home game last year. If Trask is the starter, I'll be missing a lot more than one, and I'll probably have trouble just giving away the tickets.
Ooh, that's a 1.
That would sound like a 1 right there.
That's a 1. That's a 1. I'm not that bad. I mean, his numbers were great in the SEC. People act like he's a flag football quarterback for their fraternity. He's not that guy. I mean, come on. He's tutored under Tom Brady for 2 years. He's got the Jedi mind tricks that he learned from Brady. Come on, man. Speaking of that, did you see the video of my lightsaber fight with Lord Vader last night?
Man.
Yeah, I haven't actually put the video up yet. I got to put in my impassioned plea to the Lightning I said, you're going down, Vader, just like the stinking Panthers. Yeah.
No, so it's your fault.
With my lightsaber.
It's your fault, huh?
Yeah.
This is why the Lightning lost last night, because we're doing Star Wars themed nights. at a hockey game.
That's why
This
they
is
lost.
exactly why we had it.
It had nothing to do with the lack of coverage in front of the net.
Yeah, I
again.
thought about going to the Lightning game last night, spur of the moment, and I saw it was Star Wars night. I figured that you were going to be dressed up as Chewbacca or something, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going now.
Chewbacca was hanging out with me.
I saw
the
that.
pregame, yeah.
I saw it. It hurt to see.
Yeah.
It hurt to see.
He was breaking in with this raw like every 5 seconds, messing up my thing.
Why did we need Star Wars night on February 28th?
I don't
Give me
know
the
why it was
answer there.
I have no idea why it was February 28th. I think we have all our theme nights, and they have some of them like obviously Black History Night has to be during Black History Month, and all some of these other ones that we have to do have significant dates. We probably didn't. What is Star Wars Day? May the 4th. So we probably did. We weren't playing on May the 4th, so May the 4th be with you. Star Wars Day. Yeah, so I guess they just chose this one. It's very popular. It's extremely popular with the fans, and the Lightning Vision people do a tremendous job. So yeah, but they did not answer.
Where's my Marvel night? I mean, I'll show up to that. Where's my Marvel
Great
night?
idea.
Where's my Marvel night?
I'll bring that up. I'm guessing that Marvel night is like really highly copyrighted, and
Star Wars night isn't.
Yeah,
Everybody has Star Wars night.
Maybe we've already paid the royalties for the Star Wars night thing. I don't know. It probably has something to do with that. But Marvel, that would get you going, would it?
I'll show up to that, but
Really?
I will not be showing up to Star Wars night.
Yeah, so
I will not be doing
So
that.
who would be some of the Marvel characters? I'm so out of touch with Iron Man. We'd have Iron Man on skates. Who else would we have?
I'd want to see you.
Scarlett Johansson, is she a Marvel kid?
She's a Marvel, yeah.
Oh,
I'd
hubba
like to
hubba.
see.
I'm down for that.
I'd like to see you as Groot.
See me as Groot,
Yeah.
dressed up as Groot?
Yeah, you could be dressed up as a damn tree. I'd
Why
like
not
to see
Thor?
that.
I don't get Thor.
You
I
are
get
far
Groot?
from you are
I
far
get Groot,
from Thor.
not Thor.
You got Star-Lord energy. You don't have Thor energy.
Oh, Star-Lord, yeah. Hell yeah. He's my favorite.
He's a little wimp.
Him and Deadpool, yeah. Those are my favorite. Is Deadpool Marvel?
Barely, yeah.
Is he?
He's in a separate universe.
Yeah, he's my favorite. He's my favorite. What do we superstar, whatever they're called. Yeah, he's my favorite because he's the biggest wise ass and he makes fun of all of the stupid stuff. But anyway, we got off. Yeah, Star Wars night was well executed, unlike the Lightning. We'll get to them in a little bit. We're gonna finish up on the Bucs and then we'll get to the disaster that is the Tampa Bay Lightning. Lately, I'm sure they'll pull out of it, but it has not been good.
So
lately.
the Bucs are a disaster now, and the Lightning are a disaster now. Is that where we are?
Well, we told you it wouldn't last forever.
You can no longer come on here and say Tampa Bay. I forbid you. I forbid you to say it.
No,
I
can't
do it.
I disagree because the Lightning are still very much in the hunt.
You
I'm
could
not
say
giving
it,
up on the
You
Lightning.
could say it on when the first day of playoffs. You can say it.
I'm not giving up on the Lightning. This is a bad stretch. They're a little bored right now. They're playing teams that are absolutely desperate, and they're not matching their desperation. That will change. That will change as we get closer to the playoffs. So we'll get into the bolts in a little bit. But I'm not, as Coop said last night, it's a little alarming. We're not hitting the panic button just yet, but it is a little alarming. There's no question about this. 4 games in a row, they've played terrible. They have not played well at all. So even though they won one of those games, thanks to Vassie, they have not played well. So we'll get to them in a little bit because we wanted to stay on this. We'll see what happens in this post. I don't think the fan base is excited about Kyle Trask at all. I think there's going to be a lot of fours. Well,
initial votes here.
Yeah.
They're coming in already. So far, 4 skeptical is leading the pack with 43% of the vote.
Yeah.
And wasted pick is at 29%, not too far behind.
Seminole fans.
Well, there's somebody who commented here, where is the option for don't care as I hate the Bucs and want them to lose every game? I'm not sure why you're commenting on my poll there.
Why are you following?
He's an FSU fan, so he's following you for some reason.
Well, you just hate the Bucs? I mean,
just hate the Bucs though.
Okay, well, that's fine. But yeah, no, we're still Tampa Bay until someone takes that mantle. Has Philly taken it? I mean, no, they're doing well in a couple things, but you got to get more than one championship to be Tampa Bay. You got to, to be dynastic, as we like to say. You got to get 3. You got to get 3. You got to get 3. Yeah, at least in multiple sports, and maybe make it to the championship game in another. So, and that's what we've done. So, the Rays are the Rays World Series contenders? Are we? I mean, no.
I'll throw them in there.
You think?
Because I didn't think the Phillies were World Series contenders.
Yeah. True.
I mean, anything could happen. I mean, honestly, like there's always a team that kind of comes through.
Yeah.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
If Glass now hadn't gone down already,
But it's
I
just
might
a 6 week.
slide him in.
It's a 6 to 8 week injury.
Yeah, it's 6 to 8 weeks,
barring
but it's also
barring setbacks.
Right, exactly. That's the problem with the oblique is it's a chronic injury, and it can come back to haunt you. So we'll that's. But so I think they're right on the cusp of being a contender, a possibility. I think in baseball, you can have. I think you go into the year with half the league you think could win a World Series.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
No, well, would you put the Phillies in the top half last year?
In the top half, so you're telling me what? 15 teams? Yeah.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, I would have with their level of talent.
I didn't think they'd actually do it though.
No, but I would put the Rays in that conversation.
I would just say it like this: how many teams in the AL are better than the Rays? The Astros, clearly, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously.
Is anybody else in the AL West better than the Rays? The answer is maybe Seattle.
Maybe Seattle's on the come. Yeah.
Seattle and Tampa Bay are probably very comparable. Okay.
Yeah.
AL Central. The Cleveland. Are they better? I know they were better. They beat the Rays last year, but this is a different season.
Yeah.
Are they better than the Rays? For my money, I'm going to go no.
Yeah. The White Sox.
No. Don't trust them, and that rest of that division stinks.
Yeah. True.
And then you come to the AL East. Who's better than the Rays?
Well, the Yankees might be. The
Yankees.
Red Sox. No, maybe not the Reds. The Yankees might be. Toronto might be.
I don't buy Toronto for 1 second. Every
Really?
year.
Until they do it. Yeah, true.
Toronto is like the Chargers of the MLB.
They're so loaded.
They're the Chargers of the MLB.
They're so
a lot
loaded.
of talent, nothing to show for
Listen, we're still Tampa Bay until the Lightning lose their window. We have two spots. Like I'm not here to say the Bucs are Super Bowl threat, but the Lightning are obviously a Stanley Cup threat, and the Rays are in the conversation.
Well, it's getting. I'm just saying we have an expiration date on Tampa Bay though.
No, okay.
And it's coming soon.
All right, no, I agree, but for the Bucs, they are back to irrelevancy. Seems a little harsh, but maybe accurate.
Well, don't go light on us now. You've been very harsh on the Bucs and real on the Bucs for the last 6 months.
Well,
they're irrelevant. They're irrelevant. I think they are irrelevant.
Well, they weren't irrelevant last year because they still had Brady and they made the playoffs.
You know what?
Okay,
this is
without Brady and but they still have a chance to make the playoffs. But there's really little star power on this team. I mean, we love Mike Evans and people know him nationally, but is he a promotable star? Chris Godwin, we love him. I think he's a tremendous receiver. Is he a promotable star in this league?
No.
Not
I
a lot of people.
I think the most promotable star the Bucs have, it might be Devin White.
Really?
I truly believe that.
He is, the horse thing and everything. Got a lot of national play.
The way he gets
a lot of national
the way
play.
he gets talked about on all these broadcasts.
He does.
The player voting. Remember after the 2020 season, they ranked him as like the 20th best player in football.
Yeah. We love Devin. We love him, but
I think he might be the most.
We don't love his game.
I think he might be the most known player left on the
like
Bucs
his
right
game.
now.
We don't love it. You might be right. But they're just not really promotable without Brady.
Yeah, because the best player by far is Tristan, but he's a tackle. You're never gonna.
He was at the game last night with Keefe.
He was
slamming beers. They gave him the. But I was a little disappointed because they had like a half a cup of beer that they slammed. You can't start with a half a cup of beer, right?
No, that's cheating the system.
It's really cheating the system. I was a little I don't know who set that whole thing up, but we needed at least a
tall boy. I want to see a tall boy.
A tall boy. Well, we don't have tall boys in the building. You have plastic cups.
I'm sorry, they don't do those.
He was in the Chase
They
Club.
don't do those things in the Chase Club.
He was in the Chase Club. So,
My bad.
We could have at least got him a pint glass, but half a plastic cup of beer to slug that down. That's like, come on, man. My Keefe.
How small did
that
cup?
I like that dude with the beard and everything. I saw him as well, and I'm like, he needs like a whole keg to lift that. Like he needs to be doing keg stands. That dude.
Keefe's draft video is the best that I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was not his draft video. I'm gonna have to have a little talk with my Lightning Vision people. We can't. If that gets out, is that video out?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
You're talking about the one from last night, right?
Yeah.
I have not seen it. No.
If what I think I saw, that's not good. Where there wasn't any major spillage going on. I mean, if you're an offensive lineman and you're doing the beer chug thing, you got to wear it. If you're doing it right?
Yeah.
You got to wear it. It's got to be all over your face. It's got to be down the jersey. I mean, the Titans' offensive line has kind of set the standard. Taylor Lewan has set the standard for this. Yeah, this was not a Taylor Lewan. This was not even close. So, we love our Buccaneers, and we don't want them to be ridiculed. And
I'm not ridiculing Keith.
I feel somewhat, being part of Lightning Vision, I feel somewhat responsible for this, even though I was not consulted in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I'll pin the responsibility on you because I'm pinning Star Wars Night on you as well.
Wait, what? No, that's all Franzone. But I got to get to the bottom of this. I'll talk to Franzone about this. If we're going to do football players chugging beers, we can't have half-full plastic cups. And if we got to get a bib for him, okay,
if I'm correct, I think even Andrew Chuck, he fired the coils not too long ago.
And he slammed
the whole beer.
Yes, he
Dave
did.
Andrew Chuck.
And there was some spillage, too. And he's going
Dave
on TV.
Dave looks like, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but Dave looks like he'd be like one of those IPA sippers. He doesn't look like a beer hammer, but is he?
Dave Andrewchuk?
I'm just asking.
First of all,
I'm going off my instincts here, so just tell me.
That was a shot at me and a rude one at that. Yes, we sip our IPAs because I'm not drinking water, Michelob Ultra.
I don't drink Michelob Ultra.
Whatever watered down beer you drink, and then you say, I hammered 6 Bud Lights. Oh, wow.
I don't drink Bud Light.
Whatever watered down selection you have. If you're drinking an IPA, you're drinking an IPA. But back to the point. You can't be freaking –
I don't even remember what the point was.
You can't have a half a cup of beer as an offensive lineman and guzzle that and, think that's a thing. It's not even a thing.
Well, go tell John. You got to mix some things up there.
All right. They should have consulted me.
And I don't want to see the video.
They should have consulted me on this. I mean, this is my freaking wheelhouse.
This is your expertise.
This is my wheelhouse, and I feel cheated. All right, so
we were going to get to Jason Licht, right? Weren't we?
Yeah. It's a fascinating conversation we have going on here. We're fixing the world. All right, what do you want to do? Jason Licht on competing in the short term, number 6. It's kind of interesting.
I don't want to say taking a step back. We're still trying to restock and eventually build another championship team, and it's just going to look a little different and be done a little bit differently. We were in a position in 2020 after we won the Super Bowl to be able to re-sign all of our players, which hadn't been done in a very long time. And the goal is eventually to be able to get back into a position like that. But in the short term, we still want to win and compete for this division, and we think we can. And we just don't want to do it without sacrificing our long-term plans, our long-term goals as well. So I think we can find a way to do both at the same time.
For public consumption.
What did they say? Being in the middle is the worst place to be in sports?
Yeah. You don't want to be middling. You don't want to be meh. And it's a hard line to walk. You don't want to admit to your advertisers and your sponsors that and they're not tanking. It's not what they're doing. But look, this is the inevitability of the NFL. You got to reshuffle. You went all in. You got your Super Bowl. You got your chip. Okay, you did that. Now you have to restructure. This is one of those things where I wish that, since it is lying season, we get it. But you could be a little bit more candid with your sophisticated fans. I mean, I think the fans realize that there's a restructuring, and maybe that's what he said. It's just going to look different. You're not obviously, trying to lose, and I don't think the Bucs are tanking in any way, and I'm not a big fan of that whole concept anyway because it assures you of nothing but losing.
No, the Bucs have tried it. Trust me, they've tried tanking.
Yeah, they did, and they got the guy they wanted. But that's the thing. It's still you never know if it's going to work out. If the guy's going to work out, and or the team you put around him is going to work out, which was a lot of the problem for the Buccaneers and Jameis. So yeah, it's tanking assures you of nothing but losing while you're tanking. It does not assure you of winning at any point, or even maybe it gives you a little better chance, but you got to execute the whole thing, and it's very hard to do. So you might as well just try to keep winning, and that's what the Bucs are doing. And listen, finding a quarterback is not something that the Bucs have been really good at. Let's just be honest about that. The only success that they've had is going and getting free agent quarterbacks to bring them to the playoffs. They've not drafted a quarterback that they've given a second contract to. So. Will they, do you stop drafting quarterbacks because of that? No.
Yeah. Like I said, at some point, if you want to have long-term success and you don't want it to be a little 3-year run like it just was now, or even when what was realistically the run the Bucs had before? Was it 97 to 2002? Is before things started feeling different. I know they had a playoff appearance in 05. I know they had one in 07.
Yeah.
But let's be real. Were they really a contender to win anything in those years?
Yeah, I mean, Gruden was winning games. They had a couple. It was up and down, but it was more middling than anything. Yeah.
But you weren't going anywhere with the Chris Sims and the Tim. You weren't doing it.
No, you really weren't.
So the number one way to have long-term success is to have a quarterback that you drafted and developed.
Yeah.
It always will be.
And is there a guy in this draft that we can all? And we always say no before the draft, but then Kenny Pickett shows up, and then Jalen Hurts shows up, and some of these other guys that
Jalen Hurts is another model that people are trying to go after now.
Yeah,
because he was a guy that had questions, obviously with his throwing, hell of an athlete, right? And they took a chance on him in the second round, and now you have the big pop.
Well, who was it? Was it Sal Powell or one of our NFL analysts that correctly pointed out when Jalen left Alabama and went to Oklahoma, he improved dramatically his throwing.
When he got to Oklahoma.
Yeah, when he got to Oklahoma. So he had already improved his accuracy before he came out of college.
In a very quarterback-friendly system.
Yeah, and still was there in the second round for the Eagles to take.
Yep.
So, can you find guys in the second round? Hell yeah. Is Hendon Hooker one of those guys? I think he might be. I'd certainly take a chance on him in the second round when you don't have a quarterback. I might take a chance on him in the first round if I'm the Buccaneers, but because you don't have a quarterback. I mean, we're kind of like I'm kind of like a little I don't want to say miffed about it, but I think people are dismissing this fact that we need a quarterback. Yeah, but we can find one later. We don't have to get it this year. Why not? I mean, I'm not saying reach, but I don't think Hendon Hooker's a reach. A lot of people had a first-round grade on him before he had the ACL injury. Why isn't it the same grade now? ACL's heal. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. Oh, he's 25 years old. Okay, good. He's mature and ready to play.
Does the risk, though, again, because Todd Bowles is practically coaching for his career right now, let's be honest, the head coach. Jason Licht might be on the clock as well.
Should never be a factor.
Is that a factor at all?
Should never be. But yeah, I'm not stupid enough to sit here.
How big is the risk in taking a quarterback at this juncture with a really high pick?
Listen, so we could go. We could find a way to fit Derek Carr under the cap. Absolutely, we could. There's no question. You can manipulate the cap. Who are you getting rid of? Everybody.
Right.
You can't bring back any free agents. You're going to have 17 rookies on your.
You're just going to have Derek Carr in loose parts.
Right, exactly. And you're just, you'll have a core, but you'll have no depth. There's a lot of starters that are free agents that we got to bring back. I mean, it's going to be really, really difficult. And you're going to have a guy for, 3 years, 4 years. It's tough. It would be very tough to build a team around that guy. And you don't know, I think Derek Carr is a pretty damn good quarterback. But does pretty damn good get you to a Super Bowl? No. I don't know. It's not, especially if you can't go out and put other pieces around him because of your salary cap constraints. So that whole thing really doesn't fit for the Buccaneers. This seems like a time where they could take a chance on developing a quarterback, if at all. And that's a decision that has to be made at the Jason Licht level, not the Todd Bowles level, and even maybe more at the ownership level. Because like you said, I don't think Jason Licht is drafting for his job. I think, the Super Bowl that that team that he put together buys you at least 5 years. At least 5 years. It's not often that you get to hire this many coaches, but I think he did a good enough job that he proved that he can build a Super Bowl roster. Well, who else are you going to go out to build the next one? Consistency works in this league. And I would stick with Jason Licht to say, okay, go build me another one. You did it once. Go build me another one. You know how to do it, so let's go. And for him, at this point, you got to find a quarterback. You don't have one. So why people are just like, we have other needs. Quarterback. You need a quarterback. It's the most important position. I'm not passing it over. If we can go find a guy now, let's get him and develop him. I mean, honestly, by the time Hendon Hooker's ready to play mid-season, all right, and you're going to say, well, we don't want to stunt the growth of Kyle Trask, huh?
I don't care about that. Yeah. I don't care about that necessarily.
Right? I mean, and we'll have given Kyle Trask a shot. If Kyle Trask is great in the first 8 games, well, then you got Hendon Hooker, and people want him. You could trade him next year.
I would just love to see Kyle Trask. I want to see him beat out somebody for the starting job. I want to see it because everybody's been telling me, you've said it too, this whole thing about, because I keep saying he couldn't beat Blaine Gabbert out, and everybody's saying, well, that's because Brady wanted Gabbert as the okay, well, right. I want to see him beat somebody out then. Okay. Let me see it.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side and have a little discussion about your Tampa Bay Lightning because the last 4 games have not been Lightning-esque at all, and we will kind of dig into why that is. We'll hear from John Cooper. And is it time to push the panic button? Will there be more moves? All right, we're brought to you by the folks at Italiano Insurance. Great time to do your insurance checkup. If you need business insurance, if you started a side hustle and you don't have business insurance, you could be risking all of your personal wealth. It's very inexpensive, but you need to have it. So call the folks at Italiano Insurance. It's 813-877-7799. Have them shop all your insurance products and save you money. They do the work. You save the cash. 813-877-7799. Back in 3.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
The PGA Tour is back. The Valspar Championship returns to Innisbrook March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of great golf action and a host of fun activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. Every tournament day offers something different. On Friday, we'll celebrate St. Patrick's Day with the wearing of the green. Saturday means Valspar Live, where tournament patrons will be able to enjoy country music superstar Darius Rucker with a free 90-minute show after the conclusion of play. And on Sunday, we're going to crown a champion. You don't want to miss it. Everybody will be there. Tickets on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss it. The 2023 Valspar Championship.
Hey guys, it's a new year, so are you looking for a new you to lose weight, lean up? There are many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there, but you know where to start? Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently, and many of these other approaches are designed for the masses, the quick weight loss, but it doesn't stay off, right? Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you, so the weight comes off safely without use of drugs that only work temporarily. So call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. And Chris will join us each Monday at 11:45 to talk about your wellness and the significant injuries to athletes in the sports world. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group and Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Well, the Lightning lost at home last night for the first time in, 17 games at a 16-game point streak. We've seen it coming, though. They certainly, against Buffalo, was it last Thursday, where they got the point, lost in overtime. They were down by 2 goals in the third period, came back and tied it, got to OT. But this is 4 games in a row where the Lightning have been significantly outshot, outchanced. Their defensive coverage in front of the net is deplorable. Vasi saved their ass on Saturday when they were outshot by the Red Wings 37-11 through 2 periods. Embarrassing. They go down 3-0 last night. It was actually 4-0 before they had the 4th goal in the first period disallowed for goaltender interference, and that was a little bit of a dicey call as well. So for all intents and purposes, they were down 4-0 in the first period. Lightning did have 2 goals disallowed last night, one for offsides, one for goaltender interference, both good calls. But the chances were few and far between, and their coverage has just been awful. They're not really difficult to play against, and that's one of the reasons they brought in Tanner Jeannot. And it's just, this is a 4-game stretch that is very un-Lightning-like. And I think, at least for my money, and talking with Brian Engbaum last night on the last call, we kind of feel like these are kind of the dog days for the Lightning. All these teams that they're playing are playing for their playoff lives. Every point is absolutely desperation, and you could see that out there. And the Lightning are just not matching their desperation. They're not. They're not playing with the requisite energy that they need to play with. And Stammer said it last night that their execution sucks. Cooper said the same thing. We'll hear from Coop here in just a second. And it's bad hockey. And they're still having issues with who to play with Hedman. Ryan McDonough's loss is still being felt. Jeannot's going to I think Jeannot's going to be a great fit. It's what we need, but it's going to take a while for him to learn the system, and his impact hopefully will be felt a little bit more in the coming weeks. But right now, there's no other way to say it and sugarcoat it. The Lightning are playing like crap.
They stink right now.
They do.
It's hard. Last night it was like,
they can't put 3 passes together.
They can't, and it was just last night was one of those really frustrating games. It's like they started getting a lot of chances, and just it got comical at the end. This has happened a few times lately. It gets comical at the end where they're firing everything at the net. And last night they were giving Bobrovsky everything.
They were 6-on-5 for it seemed like 25 minutes.
I mean, and it just seemed like everything would just somehow. It's like it was just hitting him. Like it wasn't like he was making the save. It was just hitting him.
Yeah.
And that's just how it went. Stamkos hits the post late. It was just one of those nights. I think Stamkos' game right now to me is.
He looks tired.
I hate to say it. It just something looks off there.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw in a power play too. With he makes an error because he's worrying about a broken stick that's not even really impacting the play.
Yeah.
And he's worrying about the broken stick, and he ends up making a really bad error on the power play. He's not hitting the cage as much as he probably should right now on the power play.
And they're not shooting the freaking puck,
5-on-5 game, not effective. Not shooting the puck. How about this? Nikita Kucherov, who I always go and vouch for, I still think he's underrated in the NHL, but he's got 6 goals in 20 games.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, he's putting up points.
He's putting up points. He's putting up assists, but I'm just saying that guy has not really been going from a goal-scoring threat in a long time now.
No.
The scoring numbers are down this year for him.
Yeah.
I just need more there.
He's got to shoot the puck.
He's got to shoot. It starts with shooting the puck more.
I think it was on the Luosterainen goal. Colton has a damn near breakaway, and he's at least maybe a stride ahead of the defender heading towards the goal, and he pulls up like above the circle. He crosses the blue line and pulls up, and then they just take it away from him.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing, bro? There's just no attacking mentality. It's just all of this is let's make the perfect play. Let's get the extra pass.
It's the old Lightning.
Ugh, yeah, it's the old Lightning. And these extra passes are ending up in your freaking net. You're doing these drop passes, and gosh, they were setting up for a power play, and there was 3 of them in their own end. I think it was Sergachev and Point, and they damn near gave the puck away twice in their own end. If it wasn't the Florida player, I think was just so stunned that they left the puck there that he was late to jump on it and he didn't get it. It was ridiculous. And so I still think it's not panic time, but their upcoming schedule, they're playing a lot of teams like Pittsburgh Thursday night. Pittsburgh may miss the playoffs for the first time since Crosby's rookie year. What is it, 17 years ago? I mean, they're desperate. They're desperate to
and
get in.
And they've had the Lightning's number.
Yeah, and Florida, Florida came to play last night. There's no question. And they, and I like the Lightning picked up their game in the second period in terms of their energy, but they still didn't get the shots on net. You got to get, at some point you got to get shots on net. You're not going to score without it. So there's a lot to be worried about. Let's listen in to John Cooper from last night. And Coop was, I think he was pretty candid about the situation.
You guys have played against the 4 teams vying for the last playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. How do you combat or overcome the air of desperation that those teams might be playing with?
That's a really good question. We seem to face this every single year. So, when teams look in the standings, and that's the best word possible, is they're desperate, and clearly we're not playing with the same desperation that our opponents are. So, it's a competitive league, and there's the margin of winning and losing is so fine. Desperation and will and want, that's a big part of it, and you're not going to have that. It's I'm not saying our guys don't have that, to make that clear. We've put ourselves in a pretty good position, but this last week and a half has not been what we're used to.
The advantage is the next 2 games also include 2 of those same.
Yeah, they're NHL teams.
Yep.
So we're we're definitely not where we want to be right now. So hopefully we can rectify that with a practice and come out better in our next game.
Over the last week, what would you say is the thing that you're most disappointed about, aside from losses?
We're getting outplayed by just multiple, every game we're getting outplayed, and whether it's just small pockets of the game or what have you, the Pittsburgh game, we didn't really get outplayed. We just had a dreadful 5 minutes or 4 minutes, whatever it was. But we got outplayed in the Detroit game, and I thought much the Buffalo game till the third period, we were getting outplayed. So that, probably, we've got to look ourselves in the mirror and say, why is that? Because our formula hasn't changed, our game plan hasn't changed. So it's probably something inside us, and we just got to figure that out.
These stretches happen throughout the season, right? When you're trying to get back on the right track, is it about just kind of maybe simplifying things on the ice, or is it, like you said, counting on those guys, a veteran group?
Yeah. Again, we're not ringing alarm bells right now, but it is a little troubling what's going on. It's been tough because you usually get some breaks, a little practice time, you can iron some things out, but we don't have that. And so it's, you kind of have to rely on what you've done in the first 50 games to get you through this, but there has to be a will and a want. And right now we're just maybe picking and choosing when that happens. And plus our execution, quite frankly, sucks right now. I don't know what's going on. It's almost like, we can't make 3 consecutive passes, and I don't know why, because we're too good for that. So we'll come out of that.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of panic here, but you could see Cooper's a little bit frustrated here.
We've been down this road a lot. This is more than just, I feel like, a bad stretch right now. I feel like they've had, maybe it hasn't been as long as this one, but we've had moments like this. How many times have I said this team gives up, I think I said it yesterday, they've given up more than 5 goals 11 times this year already.
Yeah.
Last year they did it 10. And we still got, 20-something games to go?
Mm-hmm.
So they're giving up a lot more goals this year than they did the previous seasons.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of games where they've been severely outplayed, and they've squeaked through, Saturday night against Detroit, which they were as outplayed there as they were last night.
Absolutely.
Probably even more so, actually.
Yeah, that was all Vassy.
And I look at the East. Let's be honest. The East this year is tough.
Yeah.
It is a lot tougher. If you look at all the movement that's going on at the deadline right now.
And look what the Rangers did. They get Patrick Kane and Tarasenko.
And Tarasenko. They're gearing up, right?
Yep.
Boston has continued to add pieces. Toronto has added 5 guys to the system. I don't think they're done yet either.
Yeah.
I think they want to get some goaltending help as well. before they get to the stretch run here. All these teams are making move, and it's all coming to the East. Nobody's leaving the East necessarily and going to the West.
Yeah.
They're all coming from the West and going to the East.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's really tough this year.
And the Lightning really have no room to make any other moves. And I was talking with Brian Engblom last night, and I asked him this question. I said, "Can you do too much at the deadline?" He said, "Absolutely." He goes, and there's egos, and you've got, how do you work Tarasenko and Patrick Kane into a Rangers lineup that's already, pretty good.
Big pieces to add in.
And those are big pieces to add in. How do they fit? Who do they play with? Is there time to get that chemistry down? Even with what Toronto's doing. Toronto was playing great hockey, and they went and messed around and added a lot of pieces. We see what happens in the NBA. Just adding talent doesn't necessarily give you a championship or make you better. You've got to have role players. You've got to have guys that understand their roles and what they're trying to do. Just adding a bunch of big names doesn't necessarily, make you a better team.
And
so
Boston went that route. They added a bunch of couple role players to complement and just increase their depth even more.
Yeah.
Boston's done that. Toronto's done that. And listen, because they know, regardless of what's going on with the Lightning right now, I still think the East probably runs through clearly the last 3 years it's run through Tampa.
Of course.
Is that a coincidence that everybody in the East is loading up like crazy this year?
No.
In a year where they know the Lightning can't add much?
Right.
Is that a coincidence?
I don't think so. They see their shot. Now. The Lightning have shown a little bit of vulnerability. There's no question about that.
And it's defensively.
Yeah.
It's defensively. I'm just so unsure of this team right now.
Yeah.
And Bogosian being Hedman's partner, man, I can't get there for a playoff run. And they've been trying to figure that out for a long time. But Ruda, to me, felt so perfect next to Hedman.
Yeah.
And they have struggled to replace him.
They really have.
And Bogosian is not that guy.
And struggled to replace McDonough as well.
Yeah, they're still learning to play without those guys.
Tanner Jeannot is going to add some real sandpaper to hit this thing. I've said this the other day. He's kind of a poor man's Tom Wilson. He can score, but he's a tough mofo. And he's going to make them harder to play against and hopefully be a little bit more aware in front of the net because that's where the Lightning have just been giving up grade A chances after grade A chances. And they're not covering for one another when the defensemen go in, giving up odd man rushes right and left. It wasn't as big a problem last night, but the goals that they did score, guys were right on top of Vasi. There were too many turnovers, careless puck management. This is the stuff that gets you beat in the playoffs. And if Vasi is not going to be immortal every night, they're going to lose games. And I know that's been a bit of the formula, but it seems like they're leaning on him even more now, and he hasn't been able to answer the bell recently in a couple of games. Obviously, he did on Saturday. And, I thought he was okay last night, not fantastic against Buffalo. He wasn't good. So, again, I'm not saying that the Lightning they're just not trending in the right direction at this particular point. There's plenty of time left, no question about it. It's not like they're not making the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs, but they got to be riding high when they get to the playoffs. And that needs to start against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is not a great hockey team, and this is a good bounce back game. They obviously they have some great players in Crosby and Malkin and Letang and the whole gang. But they're not, as a team, as good as they have been. And they got, that was a pretty even game on Sunday until the Lightning just lost their legs in that second period for about 5 minutes and just steamrolled on them really, really quickly. And you've seen that happen. So we'll see. We'll see tomorrow. All right, quick break. When we come back, John Gerber, PGA Pro, is going to join us as we do our picks for the week, talk some golf. There's some interesting storylines out there as the Florida swing continues in Bay Hill, heading towards Valspar. So, quick break. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit tell them JP sent you. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship returns this March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of action plus a host of fun activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. Sam Burns, who won in a thrilling playoff last year, is looking to make it 3 wins in a row on the Copperhead course at Innisbrook Resort. He will be challenged by a top field that includes Jordan Spieth, returning for the first time in 5 years. The 2015 Valspar champ counts 13 PGA Tour victories, including 3 majors in his career. It will be a great field and great fun. Tickets are on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds tickets and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss the 2023 Valspar Championship.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back as we wrap things up here on a Wednesday. And we always do that with our good friend John Gerber, PGA Pro, who always has the picks for us. What's up, partner? How are you?
Good morning, fellas. How you guys doing?
Oh, it's a great golf season, man. I've been out hitting golf balls the last few weeks, teaching my girlfriend, the lovely Ashley, how to play golf, and she's already hitting 175-yard drives, Gerber. How about that?
Wow, she's out driving you already, buddy. I can't believe that. That's pretty good.
And she hits it a hell of a lot straighter than I do. I can tell you that right now, which ain't saying much, as you well know. But we've been practicing. She lives like 5 minutes from Orange County National. And we were out there this weekend, and they're already setting up for the big live golf experience coming up at the end of the month there. And we've got Bay Hill in Orlando this weekend, and we got Valspar in a couple weeks here in Tampa, in Palm Harbor, more specifically. So it's the Florida swing, baby. And here we go with Bay Hill this weekend, a place I'm sure you've played in a very, very interesting track this week, and some big stars. So what do you think this week?
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at Central Florida here the next couple of weeks, kind of the epicenter of golf, which is good. You know, like we talked a little bit last week, you know, I always felt like the golf season kind of started at the Florida swing, right? All these guys kind of living down there and playing these events. And I love it. I mean, 4 weeks back to back in Florida. You look last week at maybe Chris Kirk wasn't the winner that most people thought. He was a really big underdog, but it just kind of goes to show that all these guys can really play out there, and you get him on a golf course like that. He played really well. And, you know, if you look, the wind didn't blow last week at all.
No.
And that is something we kind of add into our handicapping, especially this time of year in Florida. Mm-hmm. So good for Chris Kirk. We didn't have him on our board. We didn't do very well last week. We're still a little bit in the red, but 1-1-1 in our matchups that gets us to 7-2-1 for our matchups, but we're still a little bit behind the 8 ball in winnings, but looking forward to this week at Bay Hill. And again, it's one of those golf courses. It can play really difficult if the wind blows. I've played there a lot through my college years. It's changed a lot, but if the wind blows, it could be really tough. So I'm kind of lending to some really strong ball strikers this week at Bay Hill.
What's the forecast for? I know it's going to be warm. It's going to be warm, so it might get a little bit of wind.
It's going to be warm. You know, it looks, you know how it is right there in Central Florida. You never know. It could be really windy. It really gets windy, I think, when you get a northern wind, right? Mm-hmm. So it kind of cools things off in a little northern wind. So it could be spotty. You know, this golf course, if you look at like Tiger winning so many times, it's a golf course that these guys who played a lot there with the experience, a lot of dog legs out there with the lake. So the experience is going to be a big key this week for the winner at Bay Hill.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get your picks. A lot of big timers in the field: John Rahm, Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, Max Homa, Zalatoris, Morikawa. Those guys are at the top of the board. You don't get great value with them, but are you going with any of those guys?
Yeah, I am this week. I'm looking at some of these guys. Again, it's a big ball strike. And it's a cool week this week in the gaming because we also have the Puerto Rico Open.
That's right.
So we're kind of got dual events this week, which is great for handicappers that we have a good chance to kind of catch up real fast. But, yeah, I'm looking at ball strikers this week. Will Zalatoris is our first pick at 18-1. Mm-hmm. I think he's due. I know he's healthy. I know he's been practicing here in Dallas a lot. So I know he's healthy and he's kind of due to have a good performance and potentially win. And I know he likes that place. So look for him as our number 1 pick. Number 2, another great ball striker, Victor Hovland at 22-1. Again, he's playing well. He loves this golf course, finished in the top 5 the last 2 years. So I'm looking for him to have a good performance. Not very difficult to chip around the green. So that kind of helps him. If his downfall is in his game, it's his chipping. So look for Victor Havlin to have a good week. Sung J M at 33-1. I'm surprised at this odds. Probably one of the best ball strikers on tour. Good success there. This guy just plays golf.
Yep.
33-1 has great value right there.
Mm-hmm.
And our ham sandwich pick, and I really like him this week. It wouldn't surprise me if he really won. Keegan Bradley at 70-1. Great value with Keegan Bradley. He's going to win this year on the PGA Tour.
Okay.
He's one of the better ball strikers on tour. Had a good spring so far. So look for him as our ham sandwich pick, long shot 70-1. 2 top 10 picks this week. Jason Day plus 250. Great year. He's been practicing a lot. He looks really healthy. I like the way he's swinging.
Mm-hmm.
And he's had some success already this year. So good value, top 10 at Jason Day at 250, and Keith Mitchell at plus 425 to finish in the top 10. I like him. I don't know if he's the only thing that scares me about Keith Mitchell, if he's a little worn out, he's been playing a lot of golf.
Yes.
So look for him to continue his good form if he's feeling pretty good. 2 top 20s, Tommy Fleetwood at plus 240 to finish in that top 20 spot. Great success there. If the wind blows, he'll have a huge success and a huge advantage with his low ball flight. So look for him to finish in that top 20. And Gary Woodland at plus 250 to finish in the top 20. Again, good success there, good ball striker, great experience, and he loves to play. So look for him with his good form coming in, finishing in that top 250, finishing the top 20 at 250. I'm going to give you a couple Puerto Rican Open top 10 picks to bet this week.
All right.
I got three of them on the board. Look for Ashley Batia to finish in the top 10 at plus 270. Ryan Armour to finish in the top 10 at plus 425. And Bryce Garnett to finish in the top 10 at plus 500.
Okay. You know all these guys that nobody's heard of. You actually know who they are and how well they play. So I can hear some confidence in your voice on those. And we'll retweet these out. We'll retweet these out for John, who's always puts up a nice graphic on his Twitter, which is at John Gerber PGA Pro. Your Twitter?
Yeah, it's at Jake Gerber PGA Pro, and you can find us now actually 3 days a week on From the Rough podcast at Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays now. On the FanStream Sports Network and on DSP Media. We would be starting that next week at 5 o'clock Central, or 5 o'clock East Coast time.
All right. Did you watch any of the Live Golf this weekend? Their first.
I watched a little bit of it. It's kind of a hard watch for me. You and I talked about that before.
Yes.
I mean, I saw a little comment which was kind of cool. Them having it on the CW. I think. One of those Looney Tune cartoons got a better rating than Live Golf last week. So there's not a lot of people watching that.
A lot of people are watching Full Swing, which is the Netflix documentary on the PGA Tour, and I love it. It is absolutely fantastic. I think it's going to bring in a lot of casual fans to the game of golf. What do you think?
How much further along did you get? How many more episodes did you watch?
I'm through episode 5. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. What was the last?
So you got a couple more, right? Did you get to the Joel Damon one yet?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And his caddy, his caddy Gio is my favorite caddy now.
Yeah, I think right. I think he's for the casual golf fan. I think he's going to open the light a little bit on what the real, the journeyman struggles on the PGA Tour as opposed to just the superstars.
Right.
I thought that was the best segment in the whole in the whole series.
I did too. It's to hear these guys' stories and their personal stories. I love the Tony Finau one too. I didn't know his whole story with his very humble beginnings, learning how to play in a small townhouse garage in Salt Lake City. I mean, what you know what? If you have the drive and the ability, it can happen anywhere, right? Clearly.
Yeah, he's an easy guy to root for, right? Especially if you know his backstory. And the thing I respect more about Tony is he has a great life balance.
He does.
So golf isn't the number one priority in his life; it's family and his faith, and in his golf. So his life balance is pretty good.
Pretty cool stuff. All right, Johnny, we'll be betting them up this weekend, and the Valspar's coming soon. You coming in? You coming back to Florida? Watching golf?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to come in. I know we got a couple weeks there, so I'm definitely gonna try to come in. I tell you what, we need some winners this week. You get some winners this week. You'll see me on your doorstep there at the Valspar, buddy. I promise.
You need a little gas money. I got you. All right, partner. Appreciate it. John Gerber, right there, our PGA Pro. Make some bets this weekend. I'm looking forward to this. Because last week the Honda was kind of not the greatest field in the world.
And I just looked at the field and I'm like, man, we got the entire all-star lineup out here this weekend.
Yeah, these are the big boys coming out. Even though Arnold has passed, it still brings great tradition over to Bay Hill. Guys love playing in the tournament.
Yeah. I thought it was funny, the Live Golf, which it was World's Funniest Animals, like I said yesterday, which outdrew Live on the CW. 300-something thousand average viewers, and whoever's in charge of PR for Live Golf said, this is such a success, and we blew our expectations out of the water and all this stuff. 300-something thousand.
Yeah, PR flex. Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Not good. All right, our thanks to you guys for watching and listening today. Appreciate your time as always. We'll be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. We're going to catch up with some of the Pewter Report guys at the Combine, and we'll be talking some more Bucs tomorrow as we move closer to draft day and who the Bucs will be taking. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.